Guardians, Tristan DeRaven back this week in my quest to get the Godworld Soul Stealer's Claw through Prison Challenge. This week, pretty straightforward, pretty easy this week, nothing too terrible. Modifiers are Airborne, Juggler, and Grenade kills for point bonus. So you've got Taken Hive, Fallen, and then Taken Cabal for the first, or for the 3 rooms. Nothing too terrible here in terms of difficulty or anything along those lines. I am going to show you a little G-spot for the Fallen room that works really well with the Pilot Servitor boss. Again, the key for the first and the 3rd rooms are just going to be to follow your strategy. Try not to vary too much. If you get overwhelmed, just transition well, take a breather if you need to, and that sort of thing. I am going to be speeding up the video a little bit because I'm sure you don't want to sit through half an hour worth of fights that you can just watch. But here in this first room, pretty straightforward. Our strategy is just going to be staying put. We're going to stick to the first part here using the pillars for cover. As soon as the first wave spawns in, we're just going to be chucking nades. On the Warlock with the Vampire build and the Nothing Manacles, those scatter grenades, they recharge as long as you've gotten a kill with either grenades, your melee, or super. Then they come back really fast, so don't be afraid to just chuck those out. Now, to maximize points, we're going to be using the nades primarily if you need to kill something without a nade, because it either isn't there or something. You know, like these wizards, for example, they're a huge pain. If I can't hit them with a nade, I'll take them out with the primary. But we're going to be shooting for precision shots just to maximize point gain and that sort of thing. When it comes time to DPS the boss like this, we're just going to transition over to the right. Take out Icebreaker. If you don't have it, that's fine. Go ahead and use whatever sniper rifle you're comfortable with. Lay in those precision shots, go to work, and then once the next wave spawns in, again, we're just going to transition right back to the front of the room. Nothing too terribly difficult, pretty straightforward. Again, just stick to the strategy. If you're getting overwhelmed, feel free to move from one side to the other here in this little front part. If you're really getting overwhelmed, then just go ahead and bail to either the right or the left side, collect yourself for a few moments, and then come right back. No big deal there. So as you can see, I'm just going to work with those nades, taking a little extra time with the wizards to, again, just make sure that they're taken care of first, because frankly, they are the most dangerous things in this room. The boss is not terribly difficult. The big thing you want to do is just avoid the lava puke that he does here, which you can see, because if you stand in it or close to it, or if you jump over it, it can wreck you pretty fast. So again, don't be intimidated by it. He's a terrible shot. You could stand there for days, and I don't think he would ever really be able to kill you with his little void boomer there. But, you know, again, the Void Puke is just what you want to watch out for. Now, you can DPS him here in the front, kind of off to the right there by that little platform. He'll kind of get hung up on, I don't know, whatever that rock formation is there in his area that look like bone fingers or something, and you can snipe him. But he will continue to attack you with that lava puke, which again, once it's on the ground, it's there for a minute, you know, until he starts to either attack again or another wave of ads comes in, and that can really interfere with your DPS. That's why I like doing it from the right. Again, pretty straightforward. You can see what I'm doing here. Nothing too terribly complicated. So, you know, just go ahead and maneuver around the room. It's a fairly big area, if as needed for your DPS, and then once the new ads spawn in, just go ahead and transition back to the front here. Work on ads, paying special attention to those wizards. Now I am going to use my super here in just a little bit, which is perfectly fine. What you want to pay attention to here as far as points go are your checkpoints. So the first room you want to be at least at 5k, the second room you want to be finished with at least 15. That'll ensure that you're on the right track as far as hitting that 30,000 mark to get your weapon package from barracks. And with Juggler on, ammo conservation is going to be important even with you primarily using grenades. You can see all that special on the floor. I'm kind of disappointed there isn't much heavy, because I like to use those for quick boss DPS, also to get me out of tight situations. But with whatever weapon you have equipped, you're not going to get ammo drops with Juggler on, so just be aware of that. So you can see the boss is pretty low there, spawned in the last wave of ads, and again, we're just going to transition back to the front of the room. With Airborne on, the other thing you want to remember is if you, like with these wizards for example, if you chuck out a grenade and it's close and you know it's going to hit her, just jump up when it starts to hit. You'll get some extra point damage there. That goes with any type of damage, whether it's with grenade, your primary, heavy. If you're in the air, it's going to hit a little bit harder, so just be aware of that, use that to your advantage as well. Alright, so we're just moving back for final DPS on the boss. As you're going to see here in just a moment, he's super low, so we're going to get him down to just enough. We're not going to finish him off here, we're going to get closer, and we're going to use our grenade to go ahead and maximize points. You do get points bonus for killing him with that grenade, so again, you want to make the best use of that as possible. Excuse me. So again, that first room, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. We don't have to deal with Trickle this week, so go ahead and collect up ammo, make sure your weapons are loaded, pop on that next 3 of coins, and then go back into the airlock and get ready for the next room. Alright, now the next room is Straight Fallen, which is kind of interesting, having 2 rooms to take in and then 1 just regular. With the boss as the pilot servitor, there is a little cheese spot that you may not be aware of, whether you're new to Destiny or you just really haven't done challenge all that much. But it's where we're going to run to and post up. In this little area, you want to be careful where you're at because it's a very narrow ledge we're going to be standing on. You don't want to do a lot of jumping. If you're a hunter, you could probably recover pretty well. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a moment. But just don't worry about the ads too much. Just go ahead and transition over to where I'm going to be heading to. The boss will follow you, but again, it's not a big deal. So this little ledge is what I'm talking about. You can crouch down here. They can't really hit you, as you can see. The boss is right there shooting at me. No big deal. We've got Fallen shooting at me. You're not going to get hit unless you creep up a little bit. If you are, just crouch down or just kind of creep over to the right. You saw that there was more of that ledge area. You don't really have to worry about falling off or walking off the ledge if you're paying attention. Now you can see I jumped up in the air to get a better angle on throwing some of these grenades, and I crept forward when I did that. Earlier, or before I should say, I tried jumping just from that ledge and I fell right off as soon as I landed. So just be aware of that if you're gonna maneuver to get a better angle. And it's okay to come out, to push out a little bit from this area. Some of these mobs, especially the guys with swords, they'll run up to you real quick and then they back way off, and some of these guys will back all the way up to the front of the room, making it kind of difficult to find them. Not to mention the fact that the boss does teleport all over this arena. This is a huge area, so you will have to come out to find him. Now, depending on the room and depending on the week, the one thing you will need to worry about as far as ads hitting you are going to be the Fallen snipers with those wire rifles up on the platform on the far right hand side, which you can kind of see right there. Those guys have the angle to be able to hit you. Fortunately this week we don't have to worry about that. But you can see that the Fallen group up really nicely, making it easier to throw nades out there. However, with grenade bonus, it isn't the best spot for chucking grenades because you don't have the best angle in the world, which is why I'm using my primary a little bit more. I've plenty of points. I'm not terribly worried about it at this point. Neither should you be if you're at where I'm at. So again, we're just going to follow the same strategy that we did in the room before, which primarily is going to be working on ads. Once I run out of things to shoot or they're cleared, DPS on the boss. Work on ads. Once they're all dead or there's some place where I can't hit them, then we DPS on the boss, and we're just going to rinse and repeat. So again, you can see here that this necessarily isn't the best place to be throwing nades, so again, if you need to push up, go ahead. Where the boss is now, Just be careful if you are going to push out to take out some ads or DPS on him, because those little grenades that he spits out, the little servitor babies that he pukes out at you, those things will absolutely wreck you if you're not paying attention. One or two probably isn't a big deal, but if you're pushing out and he teleports right on top of you and spews out 3 of them, that might be enough to ruin your run, so just be aware of that. Also, the sword vandals here are extremely aggressive, as I'm sure you know, so I was not paying attention to what was around me, and I didn't really see them. Excuse me. I didn't really see him, which is why I kind of got caught there. So again, we're just going to whittle down the boss. As you can see, we're not taking him too far, and that was a perfect example. That sword vandal came right up to the edge there, saw me, and then backed right off. So you do not need to worry about these guys kind of overrunning the position here and taking over the fort. So take full advantage of this on weeks that you can. This is the best spot for every boss, especially if they're taken and they shoot out those, black balls of doom, because those will absolutely hit you and wreck your run. So in terms of abilities and other weapons that you can use for kills, just go ahead and keep an eye on where your points are at. If you're on pace to hit or exceed the 15k mark for the second room, then absolutely make use of all the tools in the toolbox. Use your special, use your primary, use your melee, use your super. That's okay. Especially if you want to end a round quick, you may be at, let's say, 14-5, you're going to get to 15 once you kill the boss, but you don't, you may not with the point decrease, so just be aware of that as well. So here we go, finishing off the boss with the grenade. Easy peasy, guys, no big deal. You definitely want to make sure that you don't forget to use the grenade to kill the boss, because again, you get that point bonus. Ended up with an exotic to end the round, which is always a good thing, especially with the terrible drop rate that Prison has. So again, we're just going to go ahead and transition back into the airlock, make sure our weapons are reloaded, that we've popped our 3 coins, maybe take a look at bounties or something to see what you need to do there, and then we'll just move on to the next room. Alright, so the final room is going to be Taken Cabal, and if you've seen any of the other videos before, you know exactly what we're going to do. Just like in the what I usually do with the Hive or the Fallen rooms, we're going to start off on the right, we're going to take out ads. Once I've run out of things to shoot or we've cleared ads, then we transition over to the left. If you're getting overrun and you're getting pinched or there's just way too much going on, just transition over to the left. If you get bored, transition over to the left. Once you're over in that little safe area, then we're just going to rinse and repeat. And as we need to, we'll just migrate back over to the right. No big deal. This platform is a great place to chuck a nade. Ads tend to congregate up there, especially the Scions. This boss is a little more aggressive than the other 2 this week, and he will kind of migrate and walk right up to you, but he really isn't that difficult. The biggest thing you need to watch out for is that one Axion dart that he shoots out at you that moves super slow. It can kind of sneak up on you if you're not paying attention or if you're distracted, but again, nothing too difficult this week, guys. Pretty easy. Now you can see I was feeling a little uncomfortable where I was at, so I just transitioned over to this little room here on the left. Now that we've cleared out ads, we're just going to go to work with the boss. Again, use an icebreaker. If you don't have it, that's okay. Just go ahead and use whatever special you're comfortable with, preferably a sniper. If you want to DPS with the heavy, that's okay too. I just like to keep a little bit of heavy in my back pocket just in case I start to get overwhelmed. While this area is fairly safe and nothing really comes up here, the one thing you do need to watch out for is the Taken Phalanxes will sneak up on you, like that guy did. Had I been watching my radar, I would have seen him coming up behind me, but that's really the only thing you need to worry about, and if you're paying attention, it won't be a big deal. The one other thing you want to watch out for with that boss is if you are close to him, he does do a area of effect stomp attack, which will absolutely wreck you and has the potential to one-shot you if you're too close. So if you're bailing to move back over to the other side, just be aware of where he's at, and try not to get too close to you, or to him I should say, because he will absolutely wreck you. So here we're just transitioning back to the other side. This way we can clean up any other remaining ads that are here, do a little DPS on the boss, and then wait for the next wave to spawn. Now again, I just used my super because with as fast as this Warlock with the Vampire build recharges his grenades, or her grenades depending on your tune, you've got plenty of grenades that you can use, so using that super isn't too big of a deal. You do get more points from a super than you would with, say, a melee kill, but depending on if you're using Titan or Hunter, it's a little harder to get that extra points with the grenade, so just be aware of that. You may actually need to use your super more or less depending on your particular run. So, you know, along with everything else you pay attention to, take a look at where your points are periodically and see whether you need to make up some points with some additional grenade kills, maybe hold off on using that primary or melee or whatever to concentrate on a grenade kill or 10. Or if, you know, you're well on pace and you can afford to use some of the other tools in the toolbox. That was a pretty sweet grenade throw. It was kind of a Hail Mary there. Once in a while it works out. Figured it wouldn't hurt anything, and it actually killed something, which was kind of fun. But, you know, again, we're just sticking to the plan. Here we're starting to get overwhelmed a little bit. I want to clear out my run for when I decide to bail out, checking to see where the boss is. And then we're going to get ready to transition back to the other side. You see how close he came. Now, had I stayed put to do a little bit of DPS right then, he would have just kept coming closer and closer. He's not afraid to get in your face, so definitely be aware of that. He also has a tendency to get kind of hung up back there. So every once in a while, I'll kind of pull up short of going completely over into that little safe pavilion thing there, and make sure I get his attention, whether it's with rockets or with a sniper rifle or something, because I have had it where he has no idea where I'm at because he didn't see me transition to the other side, and he's just kind of hung up, actually right below me, in front of this little, I don't know what you would call it, gazebo platformy thing. He had no idea where I was at, and he was just kind of standing there, and I watched him for a good, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds, just because I was so surprised that he wasn't moving until I finally got his attention, which is all well and good, especially if you need a little bit of recovery time or if you have to pop a pack or something along those lines, but don't let them hang out there for too long, because with inactivity comes those point decreases, and if you've got a close run on points, you don't want to lose out any to barracks. Alright, now you can see he's super close here. We've gone through all the ads. Our points are right where we want them to be. So we're just going to go ahead and finish them off here with the grenade throw. Easy peasy this week, guys. Nothing really too hard or too difficult. If you've never soloed Prison before and it's something that you've been interested in, whether just for the challenge or there's a particular weapon or gear that you want, this is a great week to jump in and try your hand at it. You don't need to be at 400 light. I was soloing challenge at 390 and even below before Rise of Iron came out. So don't be afraid to give it a shot. The rewards are worth it. It's a lot of fun. It's 30 minutes of your day, and you will be surprised at how much you can do on your own in this game. So don't be afraid to you know, like I said, give it a try. So we're going to go ahead and let the timer run out, see if we get any additional exotics or, you know, something along those lines from the reward drop, and then we'll go ahead and check our weapons package with Varix and see if our quest will have been completed this week. Alright, let's see if we get any extras here. And No, I don't think we do. Nope, sure don't. So no ghosts or anything like that. Let's pop back over to the relief and check out that weapon package for this week. Alright, drum roll, guys. And what do we got? Not the claw. Happy playing, guys. Have a good one.